Hi, I'm Shane Drummond, and I'm going to be showing you how to dodge and burn on this beautiful image. This is the after image, and that's the before. As you can see, the subtle changes in the eyes, and there's brightness in the highlights and the shadows. Now let's get started. The first thing I usually do is I duplicate the background layer. I add a curves adjustment layer, make it darker, drag from the middle, make it really dark, so dark that you can see all the shadows get dark. Then I press Control I to fill it with a black background. Rename the layer Burn. Repeat the same step. Curves. Make it really bright so the highlights can pop. Control I to inverse and fill it with black. Name it Dodge. Then another little trick that I like to do is give it another adjustment layer, and it's black and white. In this black and white layer, I turn the reds down so I can see all the imperfections, and the yellows down. It's easier to see all your highlights and your midtones, so on and so forth. I do not fill this with black, however. Then I select all the layers by clicking Shift and down, and Control G to group it. As you can see, this layer is already grouped. I'll name this layer Retouch. Now in the layer, I go to my burn, and I select my brush tool. Make sure that the foreground color is white. Zoom in. Make sure your opacity is pretty low. I like to go from anywhere from 5 to like 20, depending on how bright or dark it needs to be. And again, this is burning, so you're gonna look at all the black and darkness in the skin and just paint it in, okay? Now let's get started. Increase the brush size. Also, make sure your hardness is low. You want a low hardness, really low. You paint it in like this, and you can see the subtle changes. And don't worry about doing it too much or too little, because it's on an adjustment layer, so you can always erase and redo it. If you want it to be darker, you just keep painting. Keep stroking over and over again, and you'll see it get darker and darker. Get all the shadows. You can even do it on hair and eyes. Now, another thing that I like to do is go back and forth from my burn layer to my dodge layer. Still having a white brush, paint in the highlights. Anywhere that's about over 50% of darkness, just keep painting it in. Under the eyes is usually a very common place that people want to retouch, because you don't want to see the bags under eyes and stuff. And it gives the face some shape. You don't have to worry about overlapping with your other layer if you're darkness. If you want this tone to be really dark, you stay on the burn layer and you just keep applying the brush. Keep doing it over and over again. It will build up. Okay. Right now it doesn't look too well, but if you toggle it on and off, you can see the difference. Another thing that I like to do is press Alt and click so you can see what exactly you've done. You can select the burn to see it and then the dodge to see it. Now, to even out all the tones, because it's really sharp at certain places, I go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and decrease it a little bit, just so you can see how much it is. Even out the tones. Press OK. Click that. Look at that. You can see how everything spreads out evenly. Keep doing this to your liking, and that's how you dodge and burn.